Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vandachari Jamuna Tira Vandachari Jamuna Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotara Sat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Sikaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dharma Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dharma Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 2, Text 617. Maitreya Vacha Vinidaivam Chakirisham Apratipam Avivastitam Dakṣa Tapa Upasprisya Krudha Sabdam Panchakrame. I'm going to read the next verse as well because there's no purport here. Ayam to deva-yajana. Thank you. Indra-upendra-ādibhiḥ bhavaḥ. Saha bhāgam labhatāṁ. Devair, deva-gaṇādhamaḥ. Someone like to chant? Ladies. deva-yajana. Indropendrādibhir saha bhāgam labhatāṁ. Deva-gaṇādhamaḥ. Hare Kṛṣṇa, word for word. Maitreya said, Maitreya said, Vinindya, abusing, ayaṁ, thus, saha, he Dakṣa, girisham, Śiva, apratipam, without any hostility, avastitam, remaining, Dakṣa, atha, now, apa, water, upasprisha, washing the hands and mouth, kuraha, angry, shabtam, to curse, prachame, began to, ayaṁ, that, to, but, deva-yajane, in the sacrifice of the demigods, indra-upendra-ādibhiḥ, with Indra, Upendra and the others, bhavaḥ, Śiva, saha, along with, bhāgam, a portion, na, not, labhatāṁ, should obtain, devair, with the demigods, deva-gaṇādhamaḥ, the lowest of all demigods. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The sage Maitreya continued, thus Dakṣa, seeing Śiva sitting as if against him, washed his hands and mouth and cursed him in the following words. Dakṣa said, the demigods are eligible to a share in the oblations of sacrifice, but Lord Śiva, who is the lowest of all the demigods, should not have a share. Purport. Because of this curse, Śiva was deprived of his share in the oblations of the Vedic sacrifices. It was due to the curse of Dakṣa. Śrī Viśvanātha Cakravartī comments in this connection that Lord Śiva was saved from the calamity of taking part with the other demigods who were all materialistic. Lord Śiva is the greatest devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is not fitting for him to eat or sit with materialistic persons like demigods. Thus, the curse of Dakṣa was indirectly a blessing, for Śiva would not have to eat or sit with the other demigods who were too materialistic. There is a practical example set for us by Gaurikishore Das Bābājī Mahārāja, who used to sit on the side of the latrine to chant Hare Kṛṣṇa. Many materialistic persons used to come and bother him and disturb his daily routine of chanting. So to avoid their company, he used to sit by the side of the latrine, where materialistic persons would not go because of the filth and the obnoxious smell. However, Gaurikishore Das Bābājī was so great that he was accepted as the spiritual master of such a great personality as His Divine Grace Om Vishnupad Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj. The conclusion is that Lord Śiva behaved in his own way to avoid materialistic persons who might disturb him in his prosecution of devotional service. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Shakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Ayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidamscha Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu, Jagatpatehe, Gopisha, Gopika Kanta, Radhakanta, Namosate, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu Sutadevi, Pranamami Hari Priya, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vaivcha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Sorry, I did it in the wrong order. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadama Pagate deva-yajana saha Kalu Nasta Drishamesha Punanako Dundita. This big Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Sri Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So Srila Prabhupada explains this to us, that the curse of Dakṣa turned out to be a benediction for Lord Śiva, because he was able to avoid, in fact, the whole reason probably for the curse was that he was so absorbed in his meditation on Krishna that he was unaware of the fact that Dakṣa had come in, and so he didn't actually make a choice as to whether to stand up and offer respect or not, because he was in samadhi. But Dakṣa, who already had built up a long history of resentment, didn't read the present moment and chose to see that Lord Śiva was ignoring him. Actually, Lord Śiva was not ignoring him, he was absorbed. But Dakṣa had built up sufficient resentment that he just blew up. And we can see from this that how the dangers of assuming things can cause so many problems. And here we see the escalation of wrath. There was a similar, very similar was when Maharaj Parikasi got cursed by the immature Brahmin. And so Shiva is just in samadhi and thinking about Krishna, and Dakṣa is going off the wall about it. And it causes so much trouble, and in the end he will lose his daughter who he loves dearly. And a big catastrophe, really. And so Prabhupada says how that gave Shiva the chance to not be there and to take the assertion of materialistic persons, and how Gaurikishore Das Bābājī, he similarly used the technique of hanging out, of chanting and meditating by the latrine. And also we'll see so many saints, they did this. Also Jagannath Das Bābājī, he avoided very much, because bhakti requires pure heart, and it cannot be diluted. It needs to be concentrated. To find Shuddhanam requires freedom from gossip, politics and frivolity. And so these great saintly persons, they show the path in this way, exclusive dedication to Krishna. It's not a social isolation, but actually a practice of deep spiritual discipline, where everything is taken part in only in connection to Krishna, which is what Srila Prabhupada also taught us. So Shiva is such a wonderful personality, topmost devotee, Vaishnava-anam yata Shambho. And the truth of Shiva is very unique, because he's neither jiva tattva, ordinary living being, or even a very great living being. not just like us, but even a very great. He is, and he's neither Vishnu Tattva, but he is a transformation of Vishnu. It comes from Vishnu, but is not the same as Vishnu. This is so nicely described in the Brahma Samhita. Shiram yata dadibikara visesha yogat sanjayate nahitata pritagasti hetu yashambhutam apitataya samuparcha karyat govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. And there in this verse the word vikara visesh is the word that means special transformation. Just as the milk is transformed into yogurt by the action of acid, but the effect curd is neither the same as nor different from the cause milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. So Shiva, he works under Krishna. He's not, although he comes from Krishna, he is subservient to Krishna and he works under the will of Govinda. He's not an independent person, and the problem comes when he's worshipped as God. Because then the curse that we're going to read about, or we just read, I'm not sure exactly of the order, but the curse of Bhrigu Muni, when he cursed that anyone who worships Lord Śiva or his followers of Lord Śiva would also fall into atheism, pasandis, Naistikas or Mayavadis, and they would be diverted from the path of the Vedic path. And so we in International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we worship Shiva as the topmost devotee, and he receives the Mahaprasad. In most of the major temples in India, he will receive, the Vaishnava temples, he will receive the Mahaprasad from Krishna, and in this way we worship him. He can help us a lot because he's the greatest devotee. So the form of Sadashiva is very interesting. Shiva has different levels of his personality, and Sadashiva is the form that exists beyond the material world in Mahakailash, where and he appears when Vishnu casts a sidelong glance, Sankarshan, and contacts with material energy. And in this way, just like the milk interacting with the acid becomes changed, in this way this glance forms into a divine halo of Shambhu. And Shiva has two major roles. He helps the sincere devotees. We can pray to him. He helps the sincere devotees, and he also misguides atheistic people or people who are looking for some material benefit from worshipping Krishna. And this subjective... So Sadashiva, we see the form of Sadashiva in the pictures mostly in meditation, very, very serene, whitish like the moon, and radiant like the moon too. He wears ashes, tiger skin. He has jata, or dreadlocks, as they say in the modern world. He carries the crescent moon and the Ganga, and he has 3 eyes. And then Rudra, who is the same Shiva when he contacts further with material energy, and he's there for the destruction, and he wears skulls and ashes from crematoriums, and he's a very fiery nature. And that's explained in CC 2308. And so we can see also the combined form of Mahavishnu and Shiva. When we go to India, there's some beautiful deities. And the one that I'm most familiar with, many of you may know, is called Hariharai Kshetra in Navadvip. And he's divided down the middle. On one side is Mahavishnu, and the other side is Shiva. He has the snake on one side, and on the other side he has the symbols of Vishnu. And this is a very, in Godruma Dweep, I believe, is it? Godruma, I think it's Godruma. And this beautiful form. There's also the Lingaraja Bhubaneswar is also Vishnu and Sadashiva combined. Yeah. And also Advaita Acharya, our Advaita Acharya, who called our Gauranga to come and teach the Sankirtan movement and deliver us from materialist conception of life. He's also the combined form of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. And he called the Lord to the earth with loud cries, with tulsi leaves and Ganga water, and that was the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Shiva is most famous. He's very famous for many things, but one of the things that he's very famous for is as Gangadhar, he who takes the Ganga when the Lord appears as Vamandev, and he takes the 3 steps of land, and on his second step, he pierces the covering of the universe, and the drops of the causal ocean come through, and these touch his feet, and these become Ganga that flows down into the material world. And the force of the Ganga was so strong that it would dislodge the earth from the orbit, and so Shiva was called upon to take that Ganga, the force of the Ganga, on his head, and then release her, and she comes out Kedarnath, and in the source of the Ganga, Gangotri. Yeah, very exciting. And he also very famous for drinking the poison that came from the ocean of milk. Therefore his name is Nilakanta, he who holds the poison. He doesn't swallow it because he's thinking that Krishna is in my heart, and I can't let the poison reach to Krishna. So he holds the poison in his neck, and he becomes Nilakanta, the one with the blue neck. Also interesting is that there's 12 Jyotirlingams in India. These Jyotirlingams are self-manifested. Jyotir means light, so they're like pillars of light that manifest on the earth wherever the Lord does some special pastime or appears for some purpose. One of those places is called Somanath, and that's where the Lord appeared in his linga form, because the moon god had also been cursed by Dakṣa. Dakṣa likes to curse people, it seems, and he was losing his brilliance and his effulgence, and he was fading away, and so he worshipped Shiva, and Shiva came and took him onto his head, along with Ganga. So Shiva is a very magnificent personality with this moon there and Ganga Devi flowing, and these Jyotirlingams, I've been to a few of them. I'm very fortunate and blessed. And there's 12 of them, but I've been to Rameshwaram. We went with Jayapataka Swami, and that's totally amazing because there's so many lingas there and kunds there where you can bathe and get so many benedictions, and everyone goes around in a gamcha, and at each well or place where you bathe, then they pour the water over you, so everyone's although it's very warm, everyone's shivering because you get bathed by the water from all these special places. And then there's Kedarnath, which I want to go very soon. Kashi is the place of Kashinath, and that's modern language Varanasi or Benares. And then of course there's Omkareshwar. I spent some time. Omkareshwar is especially dear to me because I went there when I received my first book from Srila Prabhupada, and I got it in a second-hand bookshop for 12 rupees, and I bought it because I really loved the picture on the front, the picture of Keshava, and I just fell in love with that picture, so I bought the book. And also when I opened it, the first thing I saw was the mantra Om Purnamidaha Purnamidam, and so I was like, I think this book is for me. So I took the book, and I tried to read it, but I didn't really get very far, so I kept it on my altar. And later on I went to Omkareshwar, which is one of the Jyotirlingams in India, and it was extremely hot because it was it's central India. It's very, very hot. And at that time, I read Srila Prabhupada's book, the Śrī Viśvanātha, and at that time, I decided that that was the path that I wanted to follow of Srila Prabhupada. And also there, I used to go often because I was staying in a dharmashala very close to the Jyotirlingam, and I used to go there regularly because it's very good energy. And I would go there and take my book. And when I was going round the Jyotirlingam there, I saw that there was some staircase, and so I don't know. I just went up there, and I went inside. It was like a cave, or gufa, they say in India. It was a cave, and it was quite dark in there. But as my eyes got used to the light, I could see there was a beautiful golden form in there. And because I was reading Prabhupada's book, I thought maybe it's Lord Chaitanya. I didn't actually know who it was, but I would sit in there and take some candle and read the book of Prabhupada. Actually, I was looking it up this morning on the internet, and it seems that maybe that gufa is actually, and that deity there is actually Adi Shankara. I just found that out recently, and because I was curious. But anyway, I used to go there and read Prabhupada's book, and that made me want to go to Vrindavan and find the devotees and become a devotee. So I feel like Shiva was very much part of my story. And so one of Shiva's name is Chandrasekhar. That's because he holds the Chandra as a moon on his head. And he has many, many names: Mahadev, Rudra, Sankara, Nilakanta, Gangadhar, Pushpa, Pasupati, Shambhu, Bolinath, Nataraj, Asutosh, Umpati. And in Vrindavan, Shiva has a special role also. All of us, we go to Vrindavan, so we probably know that Shiva, he takes the position of a Dikpala in Vrindavan. Dikpala is he who protects the directions. So he's usually in the north, south, east, and west. And in Mathura, there's 4 Dikpalas: Bhuteshwar Mahadev, Pipaleshwar Mahadev at near Vishramghat, Rangeshwar Mahadev, and Gokarneshwar Mahadev. And in Vrindavan, we probably all know about this, definitely, Gopishwar Mahadev, who we get permission from when we want to enter the Dham. And very ancient deities. These are self-manifest. These were worshipped back in the time of Krishna, because there's connection in the Krishna stories that connects Shiva with the pastimes of Krishna. And Sanatana Goswami, he liked to stay at Chakaleshwar Mahadev, which is in Manasi Ganga. There, the deity of Shiva has 5 lingas that are considered to be the 5 faces of Shiva. And Sanatana Goswami was bothered there by the mosquitoes, and so he wanted to leave. And Shiva gave the blessing that no mosquitoes will come to that place, and so he was able to stay there. And so Sanatana Goswami had his bhajan kutir there. Let's see what else is there. Oh, there's also the story of how that's told in the Garga Samhita, of how Shiva also was watching Krishna's pastimes, and he wanted to enter the rasa dance. Louder? He wanted to enter the rasa dance, but of course, how can Shiva enter the rasa dance? With his, snakes and matted locks and ashes and everything. So he prayed to be able to enter the rasa dance, and Yogamaya appeared and told him, "You have to go and take shelter of Vrinda Devi." And Vrinda Devi told him, "You have to go and bathe in Manasarovar." So we go to Manasarovar on Parikrama. You can go there. There's a Shiva temple there. And there Shiva, he took bath in the Sarovar and came out as a gopi. And so he could enter the rasa dance. And in Vrindavan also, Shiva appears as Nanda Parvat. Because Shiva, he wanted so much to be very much part of his beloved Lord's pastimes, his Bhumi Leela here on earth, that he prayed profusely that he could somehow be even a blade of grass or a piece of a little dust in Vraj, just so that he could be near to Krishna in his pastimes on earth. And Krishna said, why to be a piece of dust? You can be a mountain, and my father will build his palace upon you. And so Nandagaon is built, or the palace of Maharaj, Nanda is built on top of the head of Shiva, who appears as a hill there. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes this hill as the crown jewel of Raja, this Nandeshwara hill, and it's always expanding in its unlimited beauty. And also in Braj, that Vrishabhanu Maharaj, he went to Kamyavan Mahadev to pray for the birth of a daughter. He already had a son, Sridham, and he wanted to have a daughter. And so he prayed, and thus our Srimati Radharani appeared. Of course, there's many other reasons behind. There's always multiple layers of all these stories, and you can go into it endlessly. So it's all very exciting. And then, and of course, Shiva composed the Radha Kripaka Dakṣa song, which is a very beautiful prayer, which devotees sing to glorify Krishna and Radharani, to ask for the sidelong blessings of the sidelong glance of Srimati Radharani. And usually in India, Mataji was mentioning the other day, the young girls, they worship Shiva because Shiva can give you a good husband. And so this is quite a traditional in India, right? So in Navadvip, when Nimai was a young and naughty boy before he became a scholar and later developed love of God. When he was a naughty boy, he was a very naughty boy, and Prabhupada said that naughty boy is a sign of intelligence. So he was a very naughty boy. So when the young girls would go there to perform Shiva Puja to get a good husband, and they would bring many offerings, and Nimai would go and steal the offerings and make a mess there, and the girls would become angry and say, "We're going to tell your father." And he would say, "I am he, I am Shiva." And of course we know that it goes back. As you go more and more pure, you eventually get back to Krishna and Radha, and Shiva is the transformation. But anyway, so and he will say that if you go and tell my father, I will curse you, that you will have to marry a very old and decrepit man, or you will have to be a co-wife with many other beautiful wives. And so the girls would stay very quiet. So in Vrindavan, the gopis, they didn't worship Shiva actually for a husband, at least in the story of the Katyayana Vrat, which is started when the Kartik ended, that runs for 1 month. The gopis worship Katyayani Devi. And if you go to Chirgat in Vrindavan, you will see the Katyayani deity. It's right there on the bank of the Jamuna, and we go there on parikrama. And the gopis there, they made a deity out of sand, and they would worship with flowers and lamps and different things like that. And so when we were on Parikram also, we would make a deity from the sand on the Jamuna and take some flowers and worship and ask for a good husband. And it was amazing. This one time I remember especially, we were a whole group of young girls and we were worshipping the Katyayani deity that we'd made in the sand, the Jamuna sand. And as we finished, there was suddenly a very like a whoosh, 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 whoosh sound. And we looked up, and in the sky were like about 50 pink flamingos. And they flew over us, and then they went round in a big circle. They have big wingspan, they're enormous birds, beautiful pink birds, and they went round in a circle above us. And then they flew off to a distant place and settled on a sandbank. And we were awestruck, it was just so mystical and magical. And we were thinking, yes, surely now we will get good husbands. So, my time's almost up. So my dear devotees, what do we learn from this episode here of Dakṣa cursing Lord Śiva? Anyone like to say something? Mataji? It's a very good realization, yeah. That sometimes things that are terrible and painful or bad turn out to be actually really good for us. And I'm sure all of you have your experiences of that. And anyone else, something? Yeah. Lovely point, yes. That was the problem with Dakṣa. He was so envious that he was blinded by his envy and his hatred. And he blew. Actually, Śiva was completely absorbed. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But in the mind of Dakṣa, he was concocting a whole thing and getting more and more angry. And then he cursed him. And it ended up in chaos with counter-cursing and ultimately in the death of his beloved daughter. So, yeah. Yes, Sahadev.
Yeah, your knowledge of Lord Śiva is encyclopedic. Do you know anything about Śiva being the Dikpala for the spiritual world?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm sure he must be. I don't know. I haven't. The Dikpala for the spiritual world. Is Śiva the Dikpala? There's definitely. I know there's 10 tridents in the 10 directions, Trisulas. Like Śiva carries a Trisula. I have to research that. I can't give an answer off the top of my head about that. Sahadev?
I like what you were saying in the beginning about assumptions, like the whole conflict in this chapter, in this episode of the Bhagavatam is from Dakṣa making an assumption about Śiva. Is one way that we can look at it. So, yeah, I've heard this from devotees who practice mediation, like Kalakanta Prabhu and Vraj Vihari Prabhu and Brahmatirtha Prabhu, that assumption is like the main source of interpersonal conflicts. Usually they arise from assumptions that the two different parties make about each other. So as much as we can eliminate assumptions from our mind about other people, especially devotees, it can be very helpful for our relationships.
Yeah, totally. I think that's why communication and to see the good, and then you hear about the actual good intentions of the person, because we may read it in some way like this or that because they were thinking about something else, they had a bad expression on their face, and we read it as meaning something else. So when there's communication, then everything can get smoothed out. That means devotee communication, not like Dakṣa communication. Prabhupada.
Thank you. Very interesting class. I have sort of a doubt about Lord Śiva. One of the most famous devotees of Lord Śiva is Ravana, or infamous, as the case may be. And when Ravana was really in a dangerous position, he prayed to Lord Śiva to come and help him. And Lord Śiva wasn't willing to go. And even his wife, Lord Shiva's wife, she felt that was a fault, and she got on his case, saying, he's such a great devotee of yours, and now he's done so much worshiping you, and now he needs your help, and you're just sitting there. You're not prepared to do anything. He said, no, what can I do? Now he's up against Ram, there's nothing I could do. So he wasn't willing to fight against Lord Ram on Ravana's behalf. But in the pastimes of Krishna, we find that he's willing to fight on behalf of Banasura against Krishna. And not only him, but he's getting his sons involved too. Kartikeya got involved, and Ganesh got involved, and even the cause was unjust. I mean, because Aniruddha didn't do anything wrong. He got kidnapped. He was peacefully sleeping in the palace in Dwarka, and the friend of Usha, he did nothing wrong. But Lord Śiva was prepared to go and fight on his behalf against Krishna, and he, used weapons against him and everything. He could have won. No, he could, because he couldn't win. But how do you understand that?
Well, as I understand, Shiva is Ashutosh, and so if someone worships him sincerely, he's obliged to reciprocate with them and to fulfill their desires. And sometimes he feels bad because he causes trouble by empowering demons, and that causes so much strife in the material world. But Krishna likes to fight. Maybe Tachi can say something more.
There is also another aspect of this point, that Lord Shiva, he actually, when Narada Muni goes to looking for the recipient of mercy, he's looking for the topmost great devotee, and who has the mercy of Lord Krishna. He went to different places. Finally, he ended up with Lord Shiva. He says, "Oh, you're the greatest devotee. You're the topmost. You're the recipient of mercy." And Lord Shiva says, "Actually, no. You know why? Because I'm always giving blessings to all these demons who are against Krishna. How could I be that?" In his, humility, which is one side. But in the Puranas and the scriptures also is mentioned that also it is a service. Actually, the other angle is it is a service that when he does all these things that apparently are going, is to enhance the pastimes of Lord Krishna in the world. So.
I had a question. So you said that Dakṣa cursed Shiva that his followers will be diverted to atheism, right? And impersonalism or
Mayavad.
Mayavad. So what is the higher purpose of that curse? Because we all know in all curses there's higher Krishna's arrangement. So how come? Because Shiva is the greatest devotee, so Krishna, he could have bring his followers to Krishna, but how come this fits in the bigger picture?
Yes, so Krishna, he asked Lord Shiva to perform that service. Shiva didn't want to do that because he obviously wants to help the devotees, but it's like a filtering system, because Krishna doesn't want to be bought, bought by love. He wants to be bought by pure love, but he doesn't want people who know that and use it for their own aggrandizement and for making money or for name, fame, whatever. So he gets Lord Shiva to propagate through a lot of it through Shankaracharya, to propagate this atheism, Mayavad, Nastika. And so the curse of Dakṣa was making that happen in another direction than just Krishna telling him.
So it's kind of like Mother Durga. That's what she does as a Maya. Mahamaya
she also
tests us. So
Yeah.
that's why depends on the intention of the disciples of Shiva. Because I do know the stories when people come to Krishna through worshipping Shiva, but I guess the intention was looking for the absolute truth.
Yeah.
That was revealed.
Yeah, Shiva can help us a lot if the intention is to find the highest goal, Krishna, and to love Krishna, then Shiva will help. He's a great help for devotees, and many devotees, they give him the Mahaprasad, like in all those temples in Vraja and in Jagannath Puri also, the Mahaprasad of Jagannath, it goes, and of Krishna, it goes to the Shiva and to all the different demigods.
But also one of the Vaishnava Sampradaya is Rudraksha, right? Shiva Sampradaya. So how does that work? So there's 4 different Sampradayas. We belong to the Brahma Sampradaya, but there's also one Shiva Sampradaya, Rudraksha, Rudra Sampradaya. So yeah, so if Shiva teaches impersonalism, it's through Shiva.
But he teaches impersonalism, but also his personal example is that he's the greatest devotee. And if you go for Navadvip Mandal Parikram, I'm not sure what book it is, but it's all Shiva telling Parvati all the pastimes of Gauranga, and he's very, very devoted to Gauranga, to Krishna, and that's his worshipful Lord. So that's his teaching, but for someone who's twisted, manipulating, looking for fruitive results, then he will take them on another path.
Gotcha. It exists at the same time.
One reflection that I had from the past time in regards to Dakṣa. Dakṣa is the leader of the universe at the time. He's going to perform that yajna for auspiciousness. And he's the leader. So then that, you know, in the aspect of assumption, when you start assuming things, the whole chaos happens. So what I got from this is that, especially, it's a great teaching, especially for those people who are in the leader position. You know, when you do something inappropriate, a whole chaos, disturbance, and we see it like in the right nowadays, every day actually, but now in our government, the leaders, someone says something and someone says that, and then counteracting, fighting, and the whole world becomes bewildered, confused. You don't know who to believe.
Yeah.
So it's a teaching for being properly, being careful, how to actually be able to guide all those people, but below you.
That's
so
a very
that's
nice
what I
point.
thought.
Narottam had his hand.
Mataji, thank you for your class, and so now we understand how did you get Sachitana Prabhu as a husband, because of your brata. Thank you for sharing that. So, and then someone said that Lord Shiva propagate impersonalism. Actually, was Sankaracharya. It's Sankaracharya, which is Lord Shiva's incarnation, but it's not exactly Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva Sampradaya is bona fide. It's a Vaishnava Sampradaya. So my question is, like, we are discussing the Shiva Tattva, and we can get Krishna through Lord Shiva. We can approach Lord Shiva to get the mercy of Krishna. So, but it's not actually better or recommended to approach Lord Nityananda or Gauranga in this age instead of, I know.
That's the main thrust of our preaching. Yeah, of course. Nityananda is the most beneficial, yeah.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, thank you. Yeah, I really like the encyclopedia of Shiva's pastimes. At least from this verse and the purport, the meditation of how the Lord, in order to protect a devotee, can put situations in this, from our perspective in this material world or cosmic universe, it can be like extremely bewildering, like the Kurukshetra battle, or having these ancestral wars where they were drinking the Kool-Aid, or this incident with Dakṣa, or Parikshit Maharaj getting cursed. And so the Lord will really, if we're not absorbed in His desire, things can be very bewildering.
Yeah, actually Adi Shankar on his deathbed, he said to his followers, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda Mudamate, you fools, just worship Govinda. And you'll see that actually written in many places, because Shankaracharya is very famous in India, and you can see it on many temples. It will be written usually in Sanskrit, but if you read a little bit, you can make it out. Okay, thank you everyone. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Have a wonderful day with Krishna. Haribol.